Hey, this is Chuck, and you are listening to Fans with Bands, the podcast where we talk to the fans and the bands they dig about life, music, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. Today on Fans with Bands, we are talking to Phil Profitt and his fast fortunes. Check it out. Hey, this is Chuck with Fans with Bands, and I'm talking to Phil, Don, and Jason of Phil Profitt and his fast fortunes. How you guys doing?
Hey, Chuck.
Good.
Hello.
Awesome.
Thanks
Hey.
for having us.
Yeah, thank you guys for being on. So I think it might have been Phil that you reached out to me, but I basically, we were talking a little bit before, but I was telling you that I stumbled upon you guys at the Corktown Festival. I can't remember, was it Friday night you guys played or Saturday? Friday, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the first night, right?
Yeah, first night. Yep. Because I was there to see the War Horses.
Oh yeah, great band.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, I love those dudes.
Powerful.
And so you guys are playing. I'm like, this is awesome. It's kind of that old school country that I grew up with. That George Jones, the Merle Haggard kind of feel. But also you guys are putting your own spin on it. It's not just like regurgitating and covering the old stuff. But you still have that flair as opposed to what some people call country music, which I just can't get into it. Sorry. It's just like, it's not for me.
There's a heavy Americana feel around country music, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Pop.
So I was wondering how you guys got together. How did the band start?
Yeah, so it's a long and sordid story, Chuck. No, I had decided at some point, I don't know, maybe 2017, 18, that I wanted to start getting back into music. I had taken some time off from playing, and as I don't know, at my age, I feel like rock and roll music was, I don't want to say past me, but I felt a little more like some traditional country music sounded more interesting to me at that time. And like I said, I had taken some time off from playing, and I decided that I want to put a band together that was really reminiscent of the traditional stuff I like. You mentioned Merle Haggard and George Jones, and I'm a big fan of Buck Owens.
Oh yeah.
And I really wanted to emulate the Bakersfield sound. It's because Bakersfield has a real rock and roll underlying theme and feel to it. Bakersfield was kind of the answer to Nashville's big band sound as it emerged. So it was really more for common folk and maybe bar goers, right? Yeah. Drinkers and things like that, and a little bit more of the people's music, if you will. And so it really kind of hit home, and I was really starting to feel like it felt right to me to play and write. So I started writing some songs, and I put together a group of a couple of guys who were willing to play with me. But pretty soon it felt like they were like saying to me, you should go and try to maybe find some better guys, and like maybe we outgrew you, but not at all, because they were I mean, they're good players. I love these guys. They actually helped get me off the ground to find these characters. And I don't endorse any of these websites per se, but there was one that I found both of these guys on, and it was just kind of a fluke. I found Jason's number, and in a lot of these websites, they don't like to share. You're not supposed to share a lot of information because they want you to pay a subscription, but you could truncate your phone number, whatever. Yeah. Which Jason was wise enough to do, and I called him, and he's like, he can tell his side, but he's like, I really never played any kind of country music, but I want to learn new stuff. I want to try different things. At the time, he was playing upright in a rockabilly band, and we decided we'd get together. And he and I, of course, hit it off very well. I think the first time we talked, Jay, was, I don't know, 2 hours. I mean, we talked about as much about hair and clothes as we did music, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's important. That's half the show to me, Chuck, is hair. So I like to worry, how does my hair look? Not do I remember the lyrics,
Right.
Because most of the time I won't remember the lyrics. But so Jason and I hit it off real well. We added a drummer who was a good guy, and kind of same thing. It was like, you guys are really good. You got to get somebody better. But in the meantime, we found Don, and I found Don through this same search thing. Don had the foresight to truncate his number, and we got a hold. And the same thing. Don and I talked for damn near an hour. No background in country music. However, this character is from Virginia. I don't get it.
I don't get it
Yeah.
either.
But like I always say about Don, he's toured the world in other places. So he had a lot of experience, and he came down and got a feel for what we were doing. And I don't know, a week or so later, he took one of my originals and recorded it, and he turned into Merle Travis. All of a sudden, Jason said, and what he did is he bought a pair of cowboy boots and turned into Merle Travis.
Yeah.
So that was like summer-ish, 2019.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
we ended up getting a drummer that we play with today, Nick, and we played our first free gig, of course, in Hamtramck, and
Devil's Rodeo.
we played.
Oh,
That's right,
cool.
which is getting renewed here pretty soon. And from there, it kind of took off. People came in, they saw us, and we actually played to a pretty good audience, and folks were like, "Who in the hell are these guys?" You know, like all these old men up on stage. You know, what's happening here? You know, because the audience was like, 30-ish maybe,
Right.
and but it was a hell of a lot of fun. And then, honestly, Chuck, right after that, people just kind of started calling, and we had gotten, by the time probably February of 2020 came around, we had already been booked out through the summer, which was pretty cool. And I literally made one phone call to get onto the Devil's Rodeo open mic night thing, and that's how it worked out. So then the pandemic hit, and then of course we had to take some time off, and so we kind of got back together here strong in 2021, June of basically 1 year ago now, and have been very busy, frankly.
Awesome.
So yeah, so I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell. These guys can join in and tell their story too. I mean, how we got together is, unless you want to move, Chuck, it's your show, man.
No,
Yeah.
I definitely want to get everyone's story, because I'm interested about like how you guys got together. So maybe Jason.
Well, I mean, there's not much more to tell from what he said. It was. I've never been a country guy. I've never been a fan, really. So it was a big change for me, but it wasn't much different. I was a punk metal guy too. All the bands you went to see in Maryland. I mean, I've probably seen most of them at some point. So, but I was a big punk guy. I started in the punk scene, mostly playing, and I was doing a lot of rockabilly and oldies and stuff before I met Phil, and it kind of dragged that rockabilly thumping sound to his stuff a little bit, inadvertently, but it kind of worked out, and it gives us a little bit of a different edge. I've been having fun, and now I'm playing in 4 country bands probably. So I love doing it, and if it weren't for Phil getting me to cross that threshold, it's I love it. It's like a way of life now for me. So
that's awesome. That's very cool.
But I also hear it's that's where old punk rock guys go to die, is country music. So
well, so it does. I mean, I don't know as much punk, but rockabilly for sure.
Yeah,
definitely dovetails into some of the things that, I mean, good country to me, like kind of the old school stuff, and rockabilly, they fit nicely. You can put those bands on the same bill, and it's great. You could put a punk band actually with a country band, and be pretty cool bill too. So
I'm actually trying to push more for that in general. I mean, the Detroit is a punk rock city. Man. It is a punk rock city. No matter who it is, what night you go, it could be a Tuesday night down at Old Miami or something, and it's a full house. See some of the great young punk bands down here nowadays, like the Towheads and Dear Darkness and stuff like that. I love all those bands. I'd love to do a show with this band with some of those punk bands. So I think it'd be a good time.
Yeah, hell yeah. So Don, how about you? Your introduction with Phil. So how did that work out for you? Because I think you said you hadn't played country either, right?
No, I hadn't. Like I said, I did grow up in Virginia. In fact, I went to high school in Appalachia.
Oh,
So I heard a bit of it.
yeah.
I probably although I think I heard a bit more bluegrass than I did the roots country stuff. But I played rock. I'm a rock and roll, and high school band we covered like Led Zeppelin and ZZ Top and all the stuff that when we played bars they wanted to hear.
Right.
So that's but that on the driving to the gigs, you turn on the radio, is mostly country. So you're driving around town. So but yeah, Phil contacted me and I thought, well, I don't play country, I don't do it. But he said, but I thought it'd be cool to jam with him because it sounded very interesting.
Yeah.
I like the songs. I mean, it's great songs. I was like, yeah. I got there and Jason's with his upright and it just had a sound, it had a percussive sound, and Phil's songs are great. And he had that Telecaster. And I mean, I just wanted to jam with people because I moved to Detroit about 3 years ago. So I'd only lived in Detroit a very short time before he contacted me. And I thought,
oh, cool.
Great, it's a good way to network with people. Even if I'm probably not going to be a fit for the band, they won't want me, but at least I'll have met them.
Right.
And but it didn't turn out that way. I stuck with it, and
Awesome.
next thing you know, I play a Telecaster more than any other guitar right now. So that's about it. But yeah, it's another thing. I think one thing that was interesting though when I played, I was like, I reached down and I reached back for some George Harrison riffs and some Pete Townsend riffs, and these guitar players that were more country influenced than say a blues player like Jeff Beck or Jimmy Page, that kind of blues influence, which I had too, but I also played a whole lot of Who and a whole lot of Beatles stuff. So those riffs that I'd learned and those themes and phrases I'd learned from those players, I just started playing them with Phil's music and it worked. and now I've got my own, but I remember doing a couple of riffs off of Quadrophenia going, oh, it actually fits with this country music.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious now because so both you and Jason, had no country background, but did you go back and say, all right, I need to go listen to some of that those bands, Merle and George?
I'll tell you what, my biggest influence in the country, meeting Phil, he's a big fan of, it's Dale Watson.
Oh, yeah.
And if Phil plus Dale Watson turned me into country music. I mean, it's really not exclusively, but I pretty much only listen to country. I'm listen to a lot of bluegrass and stuff now too.
Yeah.
It's opened up a whole new world for me. It's just additional to. I mean, I still go back and still got Misfits on the wall down here, and
right.
I still go back and listen to some old Crass records and stuff like that, or Iron Maiden all the time. But but I still, I'm still mostly country, and it's like I actually want to thank Phil for doing that for me, because it's a whole new world, man. It's a whole new world.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm loving it. Yeah.
Well, Jason's really become a hell of a player. He's probably the most fun upright player you'll see out there. There's some good players, no doubt.
Yeah.
But he's probably one of the most fun, entertaining. He definitely adds to the show for sure.
Right. And Phil, I was wondering, how did you get into country music? What was your background in it?
Well, much like you, Chuck, I kind of grew up. My dad was from Kentucky, and he was from London, Kentucky, and moved up here to get a job, of course, in the late '60s. And when I was a real young kid, I really just this. I don't know how true it is nowadays, but I really emulated my dad a lot,
Yeah.
I guess the interest in the knowledge of some of that music just started to kind of hit home again. And, you know, my dad died in 17. So I don't know if that had a lot to do with it. Maybe there's a catalyst. I don't know.
Yeah.
I started playing music with a friend of mine. I literally hadn't picked up the guitar in many, many years. And he was playing kind of like Americana stuff, you know, and writing a lot of songs, just a hell of a lot of songs. And I was actually dabbling with lead guitar. I'm not really a lead guitar player. I have a lot of limitations on the instrument, but that doesn't stop me from spending money on them. But but
I was gonna say that Les Paul back there looks awesome. Is it Les Paul or is that
it is. That's a Les Paul. Yeah, yeah.
It's beautiful.
So yeah, that one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess the background came just it rubbed off from my dad, right?
Yeah.
And I you know, he literally loved, I can't believe how much he loved Conway Twitty and George Jones. Loved
Conway
them,
Twitty.
you know,
That's another one. Yeah.
like he couldn't stand it. That's just so my, you know, I think I matured into it more than anything. You know, like I didn't spend my life playing country music for sure.
Right.
I don't even like to call what I play country music, honestly. This is something that you know, I'm not a listener of modern pop country music. I don't really listen to it, don't relate to it.
Yeah.
But what I like to do is I like to listen to the stories, and I like to tell funny, maybe anecdotes when I write, you know, silly little things that I just, you know, I like to turn a phrase. And that, to me, that was really what a lot of the traditional stuff is. It just turned a nice phrase.
Oh, for sure.
Like I said, I love, you know, I'm a big fan of Buck Owens, but, you know, Buck didn't write all his music. It was fun to listen to, but he didn't turn a phrase like Merle Haggard turned a phrase, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm a big Merle Haggard fan, and I'm a fan of what he writes. I'm not allowed to listen to some of the songs because it tends to be a little misogynistic, according to my daughters. So
Yeah.
there's a couple of songs I'm not allowed to even listen to, let alone play. But he's been a big influence on my playing. You know, and Jason mentioned Dale Watson. Dale's been a real big influence on my playing too. And like I said, I never really played lead guitar.
Yeah.
And maybe I still don't, but they have definitely inspired me to learn the instrument. And, you know, since I've been playing it, it's become a lot easier, a lot more fun. And Don's a great player.
Oh yeah.
He's extremely versatile, you know.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed his leads and
he doesn't teach me anything, but it's okay, because I'll tell you what, he's the best sideman I can ask for, because he'll follow me all the way down to hell and back. And usually when I give him the nod, he just brings us all the way back to where we need to go, and people forget about what I just did, you know.
That's awesome.
That's what's having a good lead player for.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, you touched a bit, Phil, on some of your influences, and I was curious for Don and Jason. So, Don, who are some of the people that influenced you to play guitar?
Oh gosh. Well, it was first of all, it was Beatles. That was my dad was a symphonic musician, so I heard, he would take me to his rehearsals and the concerts. So I heard a lot of that. Then I heard the Beatles when I was like 6, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool stuff, you know.
Yeah.
It's not this, and I liked classical too, but the Beatles, and that just went on and on. I mean, it just suddenly it was, you know, all the other bands of the time, and I would watch the Monkees show on TV when they had a TV show.
Yeah, oh yeah,
it was great. And then, you know, then Queen, and then, you know, Led Zeppelin and Hendrix, and you know, all the biggies of the day,
right,
were there. Then Jeff Beck came out with a Blow by Blow album that that blew me away.
Yeah.
And then I'll listen to progressive rock, and listen to, you know, like Nectar and Genesis and Yes, and a whole bunch of those bands. But yeah, the concerts were huge, like, you know, seeing the James Gang in concert and Edgar Winter.
Oh, nice.
seeing The Who with Keith Moon.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
got to see that. Fleetwood Mac, just a bunch of bands. I would just go to concerts all the time, and just the big acts were really it.
Yeah.
And then start really getting into jazz a lot. And
Cool.
You notice he didn't mention Elvis at all.
no, I heard Elvis and I heard some stuff, but yeah, I wasn't. I was definitely a rocker. I was just I liked rock, and then the punk stuff started coming on. I ended up in a punk band, and then it was modern rock, modern rock.
Right, yeah.
And then I was in a modern rock band, modern stuff.
The Cars.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was rock. It was a guitar band. It was a guitar band. I played some keyboards on the side, and I had a guitar, and that was
Nice.
I liked it. The singer played really good guitar. He had a nice old Gretsch with P90s in it, and sounded great.
Yeah. The Gretsch. Yeah. So Jason, how about you? What was what got you wanting to play music?
Well, I guess I really started out in metal, so thrash and guys like Cliff Burton and Steve Harris and stuff like that got me into playing bass. I just and that's a weird thing too. It's like, why can't you be normal and play guitar, but I just, bass is always, I've always felt it. I'm a field player now. It's, you feel the bass, you just, when you're at shows, you feel that boom and that, and it just always got me there. And like I said, got bands like Iron Maiden, Slayer, Metallica, and stuff like that. But then I started getting more into punk and, like the Ramones, Dee Dee Ramone, and that really fast driving stuff, it got me. And then, I just, I started getting more into rockabilly, even from like early on with the Cramps. And even I was a big Elvis fan too when I was young. So I've always been, Bill Black's always been kind of it always got me to want to play upright bass. And I finally did it like 8 years ago, finally bought an upright and started playing more rockabilly. Bill Black's big influence, Willie Dixon, blues, stuff like that. So I mean, I'm all over the place with people that I looked up to, different styles, and even now, I even have, get more and more different like different players, different music, country music, people that I look at that kind of influenced me in what I'm doing now. So it never stops. I mean, it's never like, I don't go back always to my influences when I was a kid. I'm finding new influences now. Even local guys, I look up to bass players like, Chuck Bartels and Takashi Io and guys like that. I mean, they're showing me new stuff every time I see them play, So it never stops. Everybody, I mean, musicians should always be influencing each other and
I agree.
supporting one another. And that's the way I see it. You just never stop learning. When you do, you get stagnant, I think.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's kind of the beauty of, being involved in music, whatever that level is. I think for folks like you, myself included, I just, not, you have some friends that kind of get stuck, maybe you have some friends from high school and they still listen to those same bands, like you listened to when you were with them, and you try to turn them on to something else, and they're like, I have no idea, even if it's like a different genre, but it's maybe some older or newer, and they're like, well, I think it's just part of people's DNA, really. They either get into music and they want to keep exploring and find out what else is out there, and whether they play or not, they're still kind of exploring. It sounds like you guys are doing the same kind of thing.
It makes for good fans too.
Yeah.
What's that?
I just said it makes for good fans too. People who are just exploring music. It's cool to see that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that was a nice thing about that Corktown series. You had a stage one. You got somebody playing punk rock, or you got another Americana singer songwriter thing. Then you had you guys. You got War Horses. It was
yeah. we get to put that when we're playing Corktown coming up. We're playing on the same venue as Cult of Space Skull, who's one of my
Yeah.
favorite live bands.
Those
So
guys.
I'm kind of thrilled to see that too. And we're it could be more different.
Yeah.
And it's cool to cross pollinate like that. So
Yeah.
because you get people that would never think of listening to a certain band, and they just see something and it just catches them.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing. That's what I love about the festivals like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So we've got a fan on here, Hugh. Can you
Yeah,
hear-
Hugh. Hey, Hugh.
Hugh, can you hear us?
Hugh, that's a good one. That's our number one. That's our number one fan, Chuck.
Is it?
Maybe number two.
All right. It looks like you're muted.
Is that
Oh, there you go.
Mr. Jazz?
You,
Yeah, Hugh Jazz.
you just
That's hard luck, Pete.
That is hard luck, Pete.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, buddy,
how are you?
pretty
Good. How are you doing?
Doing all right. I was just, I have no life, so I figured I'd see what the fuck you guys were doing.
I'm
Awesome.
smoking any beat today?
I grilled.
Again.
Again.
Thank you.
I grilled and I made gummies today. So
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
so it was a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Pete, do you have any questions for these guys?
Uh-oh.
He put you on the spot.
I'm afraid.
What, Phil, when did you give up and just go gray hair?
Oh, probably when I was 19, man. No, I think it all kind of started to go. Can you tell it's gray here? I'm hoping, I'll tell you what. The
No,
State Department.
Silver.
What?
It's silver.
Right. Right. It is silver. The State Department says it's brown. The State Department says it's brown. It's brown on my passport, so it's brown to me.
Legally brown.
The chicks dig it.
So when your I don't know if you've said this before I came on, but when is the full release come out of Turning Right?
Yeah, that's a good question, Pete. So I have been talking to a radio promoter, and we are talking about putting it out this summer. I think we'll probably be talking here pretty soon. So I would imagine, like, if I go this route, if we end up going this route, it will be before August. It'll be
Nice.
July, August timeframe. If we don't, then we're going to have to retroactively do a record release, and you're definitely invited.
I decline.
Hashtag Profitt sucks.
Hashtag Profitt sucks.
That's my next T-shirt.
Yeah, right.
No, but that's great. How many songs? I've listened to it, but for the fan,
Right.
coming up.
Thank you, Pete. And Pete's been spinning this thing since spinning my single Thick and Thin since it came out. Soft release came out for a while. Pete's trying to make me rich spinning on Apple Music. So
and he's today, my
yeah, right, exactly. I'll 0.004 cents every time.
Hey, you made about 88 cents at this point.
Yeah. I think I'm supposed to see a check for about $25, right, Pete?
yeah.
I'll take it. I'm a pro. So there are 8 songs on the single. You can see it on Spotify or Apple, streams anywhere. Stream on Apple, by the way, is a good place to do it, because artists do get paid more. Actually, you get paid double basically on Apple Music.
Nice.
Yeah, compared to Spotify.
Yeah,
I'm
Spotify
waiting
0.002.
Tidal to come in because I have a Tidal account too, and I'm waiting to find out when, because they're supposed to pay almost $1 a stream from what I heard.
Yeah,
and I
that'd be
don't
nice.
think, yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, them and Napster. I don't remember Napster back in the day,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Napster pays the most out of all of the streaming services. But I don't know anybody who uses Napster now.
They
No.
It's not
Did
free.
They got shut down. Yeah, so 8 songs on Turn and Right. It's a pretty good mixture of which you can find on Spotify now, and all the other platforms. And it's kind of a mix. It's a good mix of my original music. It gives you kind of a good feel. It's got a little bit more of a Sun Records feel to a lot of it. There's a little bit of there's a little 70s country on there too, for a couple of songs.
Nice.
And we also do a cover. We pretty much own this cover though of the Hamtramck Mama, which is written. It was by the York Brothers, and it released first back in 1939. And then that song, I'll tell you what, man, that's about their version is about as rockabilly as you can find.
Nice.
So that was released on your the day you were born, huh?
Actually, yeah, right. The day my dad was born. Yeah.
But World War II, the big one.
Right. It was pre the big one. Yeah. But yeah, we kind of own that song, man. We
Oh yeah, you guys rock that out. It's great.
Yeah, thank you.
They called it Country Boogie.
Yeah, right. It was actually banned 1939. They released it, and I don't know all of the history. There's a guy locally that does, but there's a couple of banned verses. They talk about the devil in it and all kinds of stuff. And even more interesting than that song sold early on. I don't know about in 1939, but early in the first years, over 300,000 copies.
Holy crap!
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. That's a sizable, that's a hell.
I think it was banned on some
It
places.
was, it was. In Detroit, it was banned. They banned it. The mayor didn't like it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That Country Boogie, that's like a precursor to rockabilly for sure.
Oh man, they killed that. Yeah, all their songs. Next time we do a record, we'll probably put another York Brothers song on it too.
Yeah.
Nice. I need to go check this
Girls.
out.
Island Park Girls.
Island Park Girls. Yeah.
Motor City Boogie.
Motor City Boogie.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So is it so when you mentioned it's already, you can stream it now, but
Yeah.
in the summer it's like a physical copy is coming
We're
out?
we're talking about doing a hard release, so a radio release. So
Oh, nice.
full promotion. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we just have this one idiot that's got to finish working on all the artwork and get it all put together. He's having a rough time today working on it.
I don't know what his problem is. Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, it's all self-release, Chuck. I
Yeah.
don't have a record deal. So all of that it's all independent, and I got a couple of really good friends and bandmates that particularly like Jason does a lot of the graphic work for not only this band but other folks he works with. He does a real good job. He's got a good eye for art, and I think it looks pretty cool. We have a kind of a little bit of a retro feel about the whole thing.
Mhm.
The holding on to tradition is really important for me, and but I like to put a spin on it, like you said early on.
Yeah.
We put a little bit of our own thing on it. So
Yeah, for sure. So one thing I like to do is kind of, is in addition to like getting the backstory on the band and we've talked about influence and stuff, but I'm curious, and we've touched a little bit about concerts because Don was talking about concerts, but I was wondering, like, what was the first concert each of you went to?
oh my god,
So Phil, you go for it.
it's actually kind of embarrassing.
Well, that's
but
good.
not really. Not so much the concert itself, but the time, because I was 17 before my mom let me go to a concert, and she wasn't even crazy about it then. I'm not really sure why. Like I was like I was a long hair guy, I mean, I was in bands probably 3 or 4 years before that. But she was like, no, you're not going to a concert. So the first concert I went to was a Bon Jovi Cinderella concert.
Nice. Very nice. Excellent.
It was pretty good. It was good. It was good stuff.
Where was that at? Do you know? Do you remember?
I think it was at the Palace of all places. Yeah.
All right, cool.
But after that, it was like lights. I went to all kinds of stuff, man. Some of the coolest shows. One of the coolest shows I saw, and I was older at this point, but I saw Dylan at the at St. Andrews Hall, which was pretty cool. There's
Oh, wow.
1,000 people there, maybe a little bit more, but I mean, it's pretty cool to see Bob Dylan up close like that.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you know, that this from Bon Jovi to Bob Dylan, you know, a lot of stuff in between. And in the 80s, I was into the same, you know, I don't want to maybe the punk scene, but you know, listen to, you know, all that stuff that we listened to in high school, right?
Right.
I was a big U2 fan later, you know, I was a huge
all right.
U2 fan.
Nice.
U2 was a big influence in my early music. I like the blues as a huge blues, and I love Van Morris and that kind of stuff. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Bon Jovi Cinderella is my first concert.
Awesome. Jason, how about you?
Oh, I think my first show was probably Metallica. Metallica or Slayer, one of the two.
Wow. Do you
Yeah, no,
remember?
it was Slayer because I snuck in when I was young, maybe 15, got in for I think it was Altar of Sacrifice tour.
Holy crap. Wow.
Yeah. I
Awesome.
still have the old baseball tee with the priest impaled with a BC Rich on the altar. Somewhere around here with a lot of holes in it, but I think that was my first show I ever went to.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Don, how about you?
Gosh, I'm trying to
You
remember.
saw that York Brothers show.
Yeah, I saw New York. I was there when they recorded it.
Yeah.
No, it was. I think it was that I mentioned the James. I think it was James Gang opened for Edgar Winter. That might have been it,
Crap.
or Ziggy Stardust tour.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Nice.
It was one of those.
That would
I saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the Nectarine Ballroom.
What?
Yeah,
Oh
with
my
the
God.
original lineup.
Holy
I was
shit.
probably 18.
Wow.
That was a cool show too.
That's cool.
So
Yeah, that was a cool show.
I'm
There's no
old.
stage. I don't know if anybody remembers. There was no stage. You're just right there.
I think Don's got us beat with the Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah,
too.
hell
Ziggy
yeah.
Stardust is pretty sweet.
Well, that's early
Fortunately,
70s.
I got to see Bowie before he left, but that was way later with 9 Inch Nails. When he
I saw
toured
this
around.
show. I saw it.
Yeah.
He and my wife shared a moment. If you remember, he played only new music at that show, except he played Under Pressure.
Yeah.
And my wife and I were like side stage, and there weren't a lot of people over there. And he started playing that. My wife was dancing and going nuts. And Bowie looks up at her because he kind of caught her eye, and he kind of laughed. He kind of laughed and waved at her, you know. So
that's
that's
awesome.
pretty sweet.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Bowie was so cool. He was such a cool guy.
That's a regret I had it because I never saw Bowie live, although I was a fan from high school. And Mick Ronson, man, that dude was playing. Fuck. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I'd love to have that feedback coming out of an amp, like, you know, and just that raw, just raw. So good.
so good.
So Hugh Pete. How about you, man? What was your first concert?
Is he still here?
Yeah, he's there. I see him. He had the Cat in the Hat thing going for a minute.
I'm here. I'm back. Anyway, my first concert was actually really badass. It was a volunteer jam. It was Charlie Daniels, Hank Jr., Leonard Skinner, Marshall Tucker, Little Feat.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my first show. That was in 01.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
01. Damn.
That's a big lineup there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
is. Festival? That's a festival. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all day thing. Pine Knob. Went to my buddy's house and we all got hammered. And one of my didn't make it into the show. He drank a vodka in 45 minutes, and so we just kept moving the truck around while he was throwing up in different spots. And
Perfect.
Been there. It sounds like a good time.
Yeah, been there.
Times.
all right, we're going in. Yeah.
I did that a few times.
That reminds me of going to like Ozfest, because you know that thing would start at like 9 a.m. and there would be people passed out. I'm like, holy shit, you paid all this money and you're fucking done.
It's 9:30 a.m. right?
It's just starting, man.
I missed all the fun stuff.
Oh Christ, that's crazy.
Take a little nap and see the good bands at the end. At least.
I like to get real drunk, pass out, and then come back later.
Right.
I'm sure I've done that a time or two.
For sure.
So kind of along that same line is first record that you bought, or CD, or
Yeah.
tape, or whatever. Jason, how about you?
Oh, I got it. I think it was Def Leppard Pyromania.
Perfect.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that was the first record I bought. It was either that or right around the same time was like Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil.
Classic.
You know, those were one of those two were my first two that got me into rock and roll, and you know that was what was big at the time. And
Right.
I mean, I remember. I mean, Nikki Sixx was probably a big influence of mine too early on. Just the look, you know, just like the whole style of them at that time was really cool to me as you know 13 or whatever age I was. But
Right.
yeah, so that was one of those two, which is pretty much you know in that same vein. So
Yeah. Cool. Phil, how about you?
First record I bought in 1980 was "It's Hard" by the Who.
Nice.
It was their last studio record at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that was a big one because I was a huge Who fan. Love the Who.
That's crazy. That's cool. Awesome.
Bought
Don.
at Harmony House.
Oh, Harmony House. I remember that place. I was playing.
yeah,
awesome.
Harmony House.
Yeah.
We're all old.
He's like, "What are you talking about?"
What's a Harmony House?
Yeah.
My dad told me about that.
Don, how about you?
It was a Rubber Soul, the Beatles.
Nice.
It had just come out,
Yeah.
and I had this little. I don't know why my mom got me this. She got me a Beatles lunchbox in first grade, and I loved the guitars on the side. There were two guitars crossed like that on the side, and I remember looking at that going, man, electric guitars. I just like the electric guitars. And then there was this little kind of drugstore, convenience store my dad used to stop. We'd stop in on the way home. And it just had, at the end of the aisle, they had just a very, very minimal selection of records. That was the only access I had to records when I was like 6 years old.
Oh, shit.
So Rubber Soul was one. And I just thought the cover looked cool, but then it was like, well, it's also the Beatles, and my lunchbox is the Beatles, and they're cool guitars. So it's probably cool guitars on this record. And then I was blown away because there's sitars and all sorts of stuff.
Were you 7? How old were you? 6, 8, maybe?
No, maybe 7. Maybe I was 7.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean,
And my dad had already played he played a gig with Ravi Shankar at the thing, and then I heard the sitar. I said, that's like Ravi Shankar's sitar. And then later I found out, Ravi Shankar was
jamming,
played with the
yeah.
Beatles
Yeah.
and George Harrison. I thought that was cool.
yeah.
So I just loved that. I love that
That's
record.
awesome.
And
Wow.
I remember it was just like 2 rows of records, and they had some 45, some singles, and that was all you had to pick from. So you probably only had, so for the first like 3 or 4 years of my record, I was just limited to what they would put at the end of the aisle of that store. That was it.
Nice.
Glad he saves Don for last because it makes our story some.
I know.
Yeah.
I saw the Ziggy Stardust tour. I bought my first record was the Beatles. My dad played with Ravi Shankar.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Bullshit.
Yeah, my mom was a war hero.
Yeah, always showing us up.
Oh,
know.
man.
Right? My brother was Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
I like your wallpaper, Pete.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Why can't I
That's
see?
that's us in a happy little meth town, if you remember.
Yes.
Nice. So Pete, what was your first album or CD or tape?
It was Metallica Load and Standing Westward,
Wow.
Wither Blister
Nice.
from Kmart.
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 Classic.
Oh. Yeah. See, now people don't know what Kmart is now either. I mean,
Yeah, it's,
Oh
I
yeah.
think
You
there's
know.
one left.
yeah, kids today. they're-
Kmart had a huge record
They
section.
did. I was gonna say,
Gigantic.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, compared to the place I was getting records, I would go into a
Right.
Kmart. They're like, wow, this place is like,
Yeah. Well, I do remember. So Don, you mentioned that it was a pharmacy because I grew. Well, I was born in Detroit, but we moved out to Pinckney. I don't know if you guys know where that is. Um, so it's like two different worlds, you know. And but it was a small town, and the only place that you could buy records in that town was the pharmacy, and they had the
Yeah.
same kind of thing, like two small little rows, and some cassettes and stuff like that. And that was it. And it was just whatever you could get. Although we could, by that time I moved there, I was 11. But in a few years, your parents were taking you to Brighton, which was a bigger town, and you had more albums and shit you could get to.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, but Harmony House, I remember always wanting to go to Harmony House because they had like those in stores where they'd have people come and visit and shit, and you were like, oh,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I still remember the Harmony House in Grosse Pointe. I remember buying Iron Maiden's record in there. Like I remember the whole day, like everything about it. And I remember opening that cassette and the ink had this smell to it. And like even to this day, whenever I open that cassette, because I still have it. I can just smell that and remember that whole day of going there, picking out that tape because I got a gift certificate for my birthday. Like that smell brings back that whole day. It's so weird how smell does that, but yeah, it was really weird. And no other tape or album ever. It was totally different. It was just the ink that they used on that record.
Did you ever have a cassette case that smelled like weed?
No.
That's where you keep your weed, man.
Not when I bought it, but after I bought it.
Yeah, not when I bought it.
Well, there's nothing like buying music and you get something physical. You get
Yeah, right.
a cassette or CD, or the best is an album where the artwork.
Yeah.
I was thinking as we were talking, especially about like all this, the 80s stuff that we were into, is I can remember a big part of my life, not just going to Harmony House and buying records and stuff, but was also listening to the radio. I mean, I met some of the biggest like rock hair band guys ever just from listening to the radio. And we had a friend who had a brother who was like this savant. He could dial a phone so fast. Like they'd have,
yeah, caller 13.
Metallica was a WLZ, and he'd do, and you'd say, how's it going? He'd get mad at you and slam the door, and he'd get off, and he'd win us tickets or a chance to go down there or whatever it was,
Yeah.
So I saw some of the biggest freaking, pop metal, like Metallica, Dokken, who else? David Coverdale. I mean, David Coverdale was huge, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I remember I had like similar hair, I remember I told David Coverdale, hey, nice hair. Nice hair, Dave. I was walking away. I said, nice hair, Dave.
Nice. Yeah, because it was Whitesnake when he got, he was in Deep Purple, but.
Right. Yeah. No, nothing.
Whitesnake was,
Whitesnake
yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
But that was like, Whitesnake was a pretty good, there it is. Yeah.
Nice.
Whitesnake was our, in the 80s, kids who grew up 70s and 80s then was like the answer to Led Zeppelin, because Led Zeppelin there'd been a big gap left, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And Whitesnake seemed to, at least for me and guys I was hanging around, seemed to fill that a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
and then we got Jane's Addiction, who I saw at St. Andrews too.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I saw Jane's Addiction at the State Fairgrounds, I think it was. Yeah, they were awesome.
Powerful band. And you mentioned the Warhorses earlier in this. I mean, those it was the first. This is also a little bit embarrassing, but I hadn't seen the Warhorses until that time.
Oh, cool.
And I could tell after you publish your thing, and I could tell you're a fan of Warhorses just from the way you write it. But man, I'll tell you what. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't have anything else to say. Just really, really great, powerful sound. I love that. When you can fill up the stage with 4 people and just have that kind of musical power. That's what it's really more, because I'm really about like entertaining and talking about my hair and making jokes and stuff.
Right.
And you know, so this is a different kind of level of entertainment, but a band that can just create this energy just from the music alone is pretty cool. That's pretty powerful, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great band. Love it.
I think we're super fortunate. I mean, in this area, I'm sure that this is the same across the country, but um, this area, well, Michigan in general, but Southeast Michigan in particular, we've got a lot of great talent. Actually, on the West Side too, in Grand Rapids, they've got a ton of bands over there too. They're sprinkled all over, but just a wealth of local talent. You know, you guys and across the spectrum of music too. You know, it's not just like rock or metal or anything. We got great, like Jason, you mentioned the punk scene. You know, great punk bands, great, you know, Americana, you know, singer songwriters. There's some great bluegrass. You know, Mark Lavengood out in
He's awesome.
yeah, that guy kills it.
Wow.
And Jason Denny. So yeah, lots of great music, and I think we're fortunate to have that. I think that.
Yeah, we have, we have, you know, Detroit's always birthed a lot of really talented people. They don't always stay here, but you know, there's some really good artists that come out of here musically, especially. We're trying to get into the scene out west of the state a little bit more, and up north, and
Yeah.
they might have a little bit more audience for our kind of music. Because in Detroit, it's a hard road to hoe in this genre.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But we do get good responses, and we love doing these festivals. Eventually, Jason and I were talking about. I did tell Scott Boatwright, you're going to have to do a festival for musicians who play festivals. So it's a benefit for musicians, you see. So, but it does. They do provide a great audience, you know.
Yeah.
And we touched on earlier about playing opening for punk bands and those kind of things, and none of that's lost. I mean, as old as we might be, we can still bring it pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And you know, it's something that you know, our live show is usually pretty damn entertaining.
Yeah.
So you know, it's a lot of fun to play with these guys. They're among the best out there, and I wouldn't probably be doing this if it wasn't for them either, you know.
Yeah.
So
you guys were, I mean, fantastic at the Corktown Festival. I was really blown away. It was super good.
yeah. Will you catch us again on the 10th? We're playing the Gaelic League on the
Cool.
10th.
Do you guys know the Bootstrap Boys?
You know, as a matter of fact, I was just talking to them today. I think it's their it's Little Mama from that group.
Yeah.
I just, it's funny that you mentioned them. I reached out to them. I said, hey, what do you think about us coming out and playing with you guys, showcase or open for you, whatever. And
Yeah.
their immediate response was hell yeah, which was pretty cool, you know. And they said it should be easy to get you out here to do something. So that's probably going to be in October. Those guys are actually pretty busy. I looked at their schedule today.
They're booked through the summer. Yeah.
Damn, and they're playing all over the state.
Oh yeah.
I need Little Mama on my team. I'll tell you, if she's doing their booking, that's who I need, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
She got turned up.
Those
man.
guys work hard. I would think you guys would be that would be a good pairing.
Yeah, I hope so. You tell them that, because we're looking.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. They're going to figure out a date for us to get together, and I think probably out early fall. So
Yeah.
Great sounding band. Love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got another question for you guys about not so much origin, but if you could take, you know, Phil Profitt and his fortunes out to any venue in the world, where would you guys like to go, and who would you like to play with? Who would you like to have on that bill with you? And we'll start with Phil.
I mean, what a question, man! I'll tell you what. That's a great question. I think if I was going to pick a place, I used to would have said Pine Knob would be like my pinnacle, but I think it'd be damn cool to play American Legion Post 82 in East Nashville.
Oh yeah.
that would be a real cool place to play. I've seen some great artists play down there. That'd be a great place. Who would I play with? I'm going to tell you this, and I'll tell you, and I believe this 100%. I would take this band in front of any audience. If they let me open up for Dwight Yoakam, I'd do it, and we'd tear the house down. We'd pull it down.
Yeah.
If they let us open up for, I don't care who you mention, this band ripped the roof right off of it.
That would be awesome.
It would be awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a good group of players we got right here, man.
Yeah, hell yeah. Say,
I ain't scared.
Jason, how about you?
That's a tough question, man. It really is. I mean, I don't think I have as grandiose a vision. I think. I mean, not that I don't think we can do that. It's just,
Right.
I mean, I'm fine. I like smaller venues. I don't even like going to see big shows anymore. So like, I mean, I'd be happy with playing with like Dale Watson at somewhere in Texas or something. You know, like Broken Spoke or something. Like that'd be cool for me.
Right.
With this. But yeah, I mean, opening for Dwight somewhere or opening for, that'd be cool. That'd be cool too. So I'm just happy. I'd just be happy if, just us getting out there around the country and playing more shows.
Right.
I don't want to. I don't need a big picture. I just want a lot of them.
I'm with you. That's awesome.
Quantity over quality.
Yeah.
Don, how about you?
Oh gosh. Well, Phil put this idea in my head, but there's a real big kick with this kind of music overseas, like the Black Deer Festival in UK and Kent, and what is it, Milton Keynes, I think it's called Stables, with play with the Waterboys.
Oh wow, yeah.
I think that would be like a great pairing. And Phil's like, yeah, why don't you ask Mike Scott if we could do it? So I don't have a direct line to Mike Scott. Played some gigs with the Waterboys before opening for them, but that would be like really fun to go over there and take the music over there, where I think they would just eat it up. I think it would be huge.
Yeah, it would be fun too. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you take
Let's
a band.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take a band from America and you get the right booking agent or whoever, and you get your foot in one of those gigs or one of those festivals.
Right.
That's a big thing.
Hell
But I
yeah.
think this band could also does great in this country too. So it's like there's
for
a
sure.
ton
Yeah.
of really good places. But that's kind of like a daydream, like fantasy idea. Like go to England and Ireland and
yeah. That
and
would be
Wales.
awesome. That would
play
be
some of
awesome.
those places. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
I think even Glastonbury's got like an acoustic stage or like area or something.
Right.
That would be cool too. I don't know.
Yeah, international.
Yeah.
There you
Let's
go.
do it. I'm ready.
All right.
All right. Okay.
You guys are big dreamers, huh? Small.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with small.
Yeah. Well, it's all good. I mean,
Hell yeah.
it's all good. I mean, even Trixie's is fun. It's like
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. A club like Trixie's, but in London, Dingwalls. That
Oh,
would be a cool place to play.
yeah. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on Fiends with Bands. I really appreciate it. Really great to get to talk with you guys. I just have one last question. You've probably heard it. It's controversial. Hopefully, it doesn't create a riff in the band. But pineapple or no pineapple on pizza, Phil?
No.
No. No, Jason.
No.
No.
Absolutely.
Don.
Nope.
Oh, all right.
We're in agreement.
Yes.
What do you think there, Hugh?
Yeah, Hugh.
Pineapple on pizza?
You guys all said no,
Yeah. You're gonna
then
say
yes.
But I know that he doesn't like pineapple. I know he's allergic to it.
No, I don't mind pineapple. I used to work at a pizza place, and I don't really care for it on pizza. It doesn't
There you
really
go.
all that great.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't mind it outside of pizza. But yeah, so. But anyway, that being said, fuck you guys.
Fuck you too, Pete.
Hey, he swore. That to swear for him. Gets them going. It's.
Oh, man.
We just got to order him,
deep
send him a
inside.
pineapple pizza.
Yeah.
All right.
Except for
Right.
Don. I can't say fuck you to Don, because he's just.
I know,
He never
it's-
talks to.
Nice guy for that.
I'm this innocent tag along here.
Right. Guilty by association.
Oh, man. Well, guys, thanks again for being on Fans with Bands. Really appreciate it. And
Thanks for having us,
look
Chuck.
forward to seeing you guys soon.
Yeah, we hope to see you again soon, man. Thank you
All right.
again.
Yeah.
On the 10th.
All right.
Yep.
See you guys.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks to Phil, Don, Jason, and Pete for joining me on this episode of Fans with Bands. It was great to get a chance to talk with Phil and his band, Phil Profitt and his Fast Fortunes, about how they got together and their plans for a new album coming out this summer. In the meantime, get out to a show to hear their blend of country, Americana, and rockabilly swing. Check out their social media for upcoming dates. See the show notes for all the details and links. These are tough times for everyone in the creative industries such as music. Your support of live streaming, purchasing music, and merchandise is critical. If you can help out your local artists, please do. If you are in the Michigan area, consider following the Playing in the Detroit Area Tonight Facebook page. It is a place for fans and bands to support each other and share our combined love of music. Thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast service to get each and every episode of Fans with Bands. Spread the word by rating the show and leaving a comment. We want to hear what you think. You can keep in touch by following us on social media. This is a Life in Michigan production. Until next time, be well and kick out the jams.